Welcome to another episode of Mindful Molly with me, your host, Molly Kaluve, where we discuss all matters spirituality and personal development with the aim of becoming better versions of ourselves every day, a space where none are judged and all are welcome. So on today's episode, we're going to be talking about realizing that you are more than you appear to be. So with that being said, the affirmations should be in alignment with that. So today's affirmations are, I am connected to my higher self. Every day I strive to learn more about myself. And I am more than I appear to be. So let's get into today's episode. On the last episode, I talked about stop being somebody. What I meant by that is being able to step away from this image we have of ourselves that's been created by other people. That's been created by society and what society wants or expects from us. You kind of step away from your inauthentic self. The part of you that's not truly you. And when you do this, you start to look deeper now. Because now you're no longer looking at yourself for just, surface level things. You're not looking at yourself from the perspective of, my name is Molly, or I'm this many years old, or I come from this country. Now you're looking at yourself from a much deeper level. Now the scary thing about looking at yourself from this perspective, I'm not gonna lie, is because it's like everything you ever knew is stripped away from you. It's like you're in this now naked, vulnerable state where you don't know anymore. You're unsure of yourself. And the truth is, we live in a world where being sure about yourself is almost everything. You can literally never not be sure about yourself. But now you're in this position where it's like, okay, now I don't know who I am. I've just realized that I've spent this many years of my life not truly understanding who I truly am because I've never taken the time to actually learn myself. It's only what I've been taught about myself that I've been able to take in. It's only ever, people said I'm this, people said I'm that. That's who I am. Now, it could be scary in that sense, realizing you're not that person anymore. But honestly, stepping into that uncomfortable space and pulling yourself away from that comfort zone that's been created for you by other people and, by these labels and stuff like that is truly where you step into your true power. Because now you start to realize that you are truly more than you appear to be. You're not just the person that got good or bad grades. You're not just an age. You're not just a name that was given to you and, you didn't give yourself. You're something much more than that. See, this is a space where you start to value yourself a lot more because you start to realize, damn, I'm more than I appear to be. It takes you out of that biased view and perspective on yourself, and you step into this unjudged zone where it's like, I'm about to start learning about this new person that I've never met before, that nobody else knows. At first it used to be my little secret. It's like, nobody really knows the true me because I am more than I appear to be. People have said I'm only capable of this. Others have said I'm only capable of that. But they truly don't know what I'm capable of because nobody else has the capacity to see beyond what they perceive. Who I am on the outside, how I appear to you on the outside, is never gonna be who I truly am. The only way you can connect with that aspect of me is literally from a much deeper level, from a spiritual level. See, that's why I'm so focused on spiritual growth, because I started to realize that that's really what matters. Like, yes, we talk about it's what matters, but when you realize that that is truly who you are, you gotta take the time to learn that person, to truly love and appreciate that person, and meet that person in a space where it's just you and that your inner self, your higher self, and have no judgment. Now that's the harder part. You see, yeah, you didn't know who you were before, and you had this whole idea, and now that's been stripped away, but now you have to get to know this new person and come and step into that space without any judgment. But when you start to step into that space without any judgment, when you start to take time and really take in the information from within yourself about who you really are, what you truly like, what you don't really like, you gain this different type of appreciation for yourself. There is a huge element of self-confidence that comes with it, because it's like, wow, I'm so sure of myself now, because I realize that there's so much about me under the surface that people don't know. And the power that comes with that is what am I capable of? That's a question I ask myself every day. What am I capable of? Because I truly don't know. And the beauty in not knowing sometimes is realizing that there's endless possibilities about what you're able to accomplish. Whether on a spiritual level, whether on a physical level, you don't know. So you need to start to pull away from that person, split yourself, and get to know this new person. See, that's why I talk about duality sometimes. When you think about it and you really stand there and realize there's so many things we say, even on a regular basis, that hint at duality. And what I mean by this is, I'd mentioned it before, same thing I heard on, Amazing Audio by Bob Proctor, is realizing that, for example, when you get hurt, and let's say somebody cut my arm, or I cut my arm, yeah. You never say arm is cut. And I know I must have lost a few people when I said that, but you never say arm is cut. You say my arm is cut. Meaning it's belonging to you, but it's not you. If you've been at a long workout, you never say body is aching. You say my body is aching. Because you're not your body, but your body belongs to you. So who's this person that my body belongs to? There's that inner self. And when you start to really understand, because it's not that we've never heard this before. A lot of the time, it's not that information is new to us. It's just we never take the time to properly understand and truly realize the nature of the information we're getting. When you start to realize that you're so much more than this physical, piece of meat that you identify with so much, a lot starts to break away. Those insecurities you may have about how I look, how I appear, then you start to be like, well, that's not even me, that's just my vessel. That is literally the thing I am in, but it's not me. So why am I so attached to what people view this physical aspect of me as, when there's so much more to me? And that's why I'm so big on connecting with people. I'm one of those people that I really like to dive deep into a person's being, a person's, way of thinking, their mind, because I started to realize there's so much to people, and there's such a beauty in people when you start to look at them for so much more than just what you see them as. But the whole point of today, though, is not talking about other people. It's more talking about yourself. So, what I'm going to say to you guys today is, like, take the time. Take the time to learn yourself. And sometimes that does require isolation. Because it's very hard. It is extremely hard to learn more about yourself when there's constantly people around you telling you about yourself. There's constantly people around you who are holding on to that old version of you, or that version of you that's not really you. And when you have people holding on to that and you're around them constantly, it's very hard to separate from that version of you. And to be honest, when you don't take that time to separate and really understand and literally elevate, you'll be constantly stuck in this battle you have with yourself. You'll constantly be in that position of confusion, of not being sure about yourself and stuff like that, because you've never taken the time to learn you. You know, it's mind-blowing when I actually sat down and realized, like, I knew nothing about myself. It was only what I was ever told. When I was told I was selfish, that's when I started to view myself as selfish. I never really understood that. And when somebody said, you're nice, that's when I started to think, oh yeah, I am nice because somebody said I'm nice. It was never from within. And when you start to realize that, you realize, like, okay, then what is it that I don't know? And I'll tell you right now, if you've never actually taken that time to consciously look into yourself, you don't know anything about yourself. It's not saying it's impossible to learn. It's more about making the time and the space for yourself. And that's why I talked about the very first episode I ever did of this podcast was self-love and appreciation, because that's one of the most important things. You'll never be able to develop the right type of connections with other people if you don't understand who is connecting with those other people. Okay, yes, I want to connect with you, but I don't even understand what I like, what I don't like. Yes, I want to connect with you, but I can't even tell you who you're connecting with. That's why it's so important to take the time to realize, really step into your power, step into your divinity, step into your beauty, step into, everything that you are, by understanding you are so much more than you appear to be. And this is something I tell myself every day. And when you start to view yourself like that, when you start to realize that, I'm so much more than you appear to be, the type of connections you develop, not just with other people, if you're somebody who believes in a higher power, if you're somebody who believes in, connecting with something bigger than you, whatever you want to call it, you realize you're able to connect with that being so much more better. Simply because you're no longer concerned about what other people think of you, because you're like, listen, I am so much more. And I know I keep repeating this, but I want you guys to really understand it. And I'll say it a million different ways, because I really want you guys to understand how much you're capable of. And how much you're capable of is so much more than you even realize right now. It's so much more than anybody could possibly realize. And the only person who could find out about that, the only person who could understand that is you. And when you start to do that, you start to align with yourself. You don't start to align with the world, because the truth of the matter is, by human nature, we will never be comfortable in this world. It is absolutely normal, simply because we're never made to be comfortable in this world. We're not of this world. So when you start to align with yourself, you don't feel comfortable, you just feel more at ease. Never search for comfortability. Just search for alignment within yourself and within whatever you believe in. And with that, you start to just realize more. And there's so much power with learning more about yourself. You can never go wrong with every day just aiming to learn something new about yourself. Because with that, that's where the love comes. That's where the satisfaction comes. That's where you no longer need validation anymore. But it all comes with taking the first step of learning about yourself. So with that being said, take time. Study yourself, journal, read back on your journal so you can actually see your thoughts. Sometimes we journal and we don't realize that we're not even consciously reading or understanding what we're writing. So sometimes you might look in a journal and be like, whoa, I was thinking that, or I was feeling that. I didn't even know, or I wasn't conscious of the fact that that is exactly how I was feeling. That's why I always talk about journal. Journal your feelings, your thoughts, what is happening to you right now. What are you experiencing? Sometimes just like close off your mind and just write. Even if it doesn't make sense, write. Because when you do that, you also start to tap into your subconscious mind. And what your subconscious mind has to say, you'll be so surprised. But again, y'all, take time to love yourself. Be kind, be compassionate, be loving to yourself. But most of all, take care.